Firstly, good evening everyone, and congratulations to Namita and Sanjay. I was asked outside, why did you agree to read the book today, or why did you agree to be here today? And I've done a lot many ads with Namita and Shubir at White Light, and I was petrified of them as a model. So the moment I got a call from Namita, it firstly took me a day to return the call. Now you know why. Not again. I thought, I didn't know what she was going to say, and then she said, I've written a book, and will you launch it? Before she could complete her sentence, I said yes. But, this book is of course called The Wrong Turn.
You're in very good company. 50% of the people here can't say that.
No, but I must tell you that, the book is called The Wrong Turn, but ironically, my life as an actor took the right turn working with Namita and Shubir. I remember, I thought acting was about a pretty face, and okay, I did think I had a pretty face back then. But I thought that's what it was about, and I was doing a lot of ads, and then we went to Rajkot for an ad film. It was about a bike. I don't want to name it for obvious reasons, but we were doing the ad, and both the male model and me just couldn't get the moment right. It was about this man, who's just come back from the army and who gets a call. There's a message on the radio calling all army personnel back to the front. And we just couldn't get it right. And I remember getting fired by Namita and Shubir. And I remember then, I somehow got the shots right, and then there was a shot, there was a hand shot, and normally they have hand models to do it. So, I hadn't really manicured my fingers or anything. I hold the transistor and she fires me. She says, your nails are chipped. And you're firstly this woman in the village, you're not going to have such long nails, and then, to make matters worse, one nail is shorter than the rest of them. And I was mortified, I went back into the room, I had tears in my eyes, and I said, what the hell, why is she... But when I came out, she actually had this chat with me, which just made me look at everything very differently. It was actually that ad film, and I've never had a chance to thank you personally for that, but thank you so much. Because, during that shoot, she said it's so important for an actor to just soak in experiences of all kinds, whether you like it or not. Keep observing people, read the newspapers, read books, watch plays, movies, listen to music you like and don't like. Just keep yourself open to experiences. That's when you'll be able to feel a moment that you haven't experienced personally. And I think that changed a lot for me, and which is why I'm here today to say thank you more than anything else, and all the best to both of you. Sanjay, you're a bonus. I know your better half. Very well. And I was thrilled to know that you've co-authored the book, and all the best to both of you. That's a long speech. Should I even read now?
Yes. You're supposed to say yes.
So, Debraj is one of the characters, and Aditi is the woman, the one woman in the book. And Debraj is injured. He's in hospital, and Aditi's been looking after him. And this is a section from there.
Debraj felt restless. He had slept the whole afternoon, and now, in the evening, felt cooped up. Aditi had been completely avoiding him the last few days. The Malay nurse, he kept forgetting her name, had taken over. Her rather rough, matter-of-fact ministrations, very different from Aditi's careful hands. He was irritated by Aditi's absence, her recalcitrance, her refusal to meet him halfway. To hell with her prissy Miss Two Shoes. He rang his bell, but no one came. Where was everybody? He struggled to ease himself out of his bed and managed to collapse onto his wheelchair. Outside, the cold antiseptic smell of the floor cleaners made him sneeze. He could see the nurse's station at the far end, light spilling out of an open door. But he didn't fancy talking to any of them. He felt a cool current of air coming from somewhere. He swerved and headed for its promise of freedom. A veranda led out onto a small walled garden. Crickets chirped. The oversweet fragrance of some nocturnal flower, the damp smell of earth, filled his lungs. It was turning dark, twilight softening the outlines of the little stone cherub perched under a drooping willow. He suddenly thirsted for a stiff drink and a cigarette. He thought of Nishanko, how he would never light a second cigarette from his match, calling it sniper bait. One strike, the enemy can't draw a bead. But you pass the flame to another cigarette, he's got you in his cross sights and poof, your head bursts like a watermelon as you bend down to cup the light. All of a sudden, he missed Nishanko, missed his dry, reserved manner, his down-to-earth words. He missed Pandeyji and even the ever-disapproving Captain Nawaz. He missed the male ribaldry and the clean single-mindedness of soldiers engaged in battle. He realized that none of them had tried to find out how he was, that the knowledge had been secretly rankling inside. Did no one care? Or maybe they didn't even know where he... Or maybe they didn't even know where he was. A shadow darkened the doorway. A figure in white, a nurse, stood there, shoulders hunched, indistinct in the twilight. "Hello?" Debraj called out softly. She straightened up, stepped into a spill of light. It was Aditi. He was absurdly happy to see her. She drew in a deep, shuddering breath. "What are you doing out here?" "Following doctor's orders, doing my evening constitutional." "Where's everybody?" He was glad to have her back. She shook her head as if trying to clear it. "One of the operations up north, it went wrong. We've all been busy." "Are you okay?" A long sigh of bone tiredness. She absent-mindedly started peeling off surgical gloves. He saw they were soaked in blood. He noticed that she still had a surgical mask curled around her throat. Without looking at him, she started to talk in a flat monotone. "They tell us it's useless, to waste time and supplies on the ones who are too damaged. It's so tough to get medicines, morphine. We're always running short. So who deserves them more? The ones who can continue to fight, or the ones who've already fought so hard and sacrificed so much? We make that call every night. We play God." He wheeled his chair, reached out his hand. She took it absent-mindedly, slowly sliding down the stone wall till she was resting on the stone flags, propped against his bandaged leg. He cupped his hand on the nape of her neck. She leaned back, accepting the solace. They accept our professional judgment silently. No complaints. But their eyes, Debraj, their eyes. What happens if we're wrong? Maybe if he'd held on a little longer, given him some more penicillin, maybe... Who did you lose? Too many. Anwar Qasim. A big bull of a man. A laugh like a big drum. Told me to give the morphine to the bachas, the kids. Went so gently into the night with his God's name on his shattered lips. She started to cry softly, hot, fat drops. He leaned forward and enfolded her, burying his face in the springly, curly, cloudy mass of her hair. She smelled of hay, spring water, oranges, and lye. They remained like that for a long moment. Then she stirred, turned her face up to his. He stared at her at the wide apart eyes, the dark bruises of weariness like smudged coal underneath. She stared back. His hair had grown back curly. He had not been shaving, and his cheeks, hollow, thin, were shadowed with the beginnings of a beard. The irises of those grey gold-flecked eyes were wide open, dilated like a cat's. The scar across his forehead, still healing, was a livid pink. She reached up to touch it with her fingertips. He held them, brought them to his lips. Then they kissed, chased at first, the merest brush of lip against lip. Then exploring, feeling their way. Then the shock of hunger, and finally the plunge into the wet, secret recesses of each other. It was her first kiss.
Look center.
Exciting.
it wasn't too tough actually because
मैम कैमरा लुक.
नौमिता के साथ मैंने बहुत काम किया है. मैं उनसे बहुत डरती थी. तो जब इनका फ़ोन आया और उन्होंने कहा कि मैंने किताब लिखी है, क्या तुम लॉन्च करोगी, से पहले मैंने हाँ कर दी. बिकॉज एडवर्टाइजिंग में मैंने बहुत काम किया है इनके साथ. इंडिया के सबसे बेहतरीन एड फिल्म मेकर्स में से ये जाने जाते हैं और तो मुझ में अब भी वो डर है. इसीलिए मैंने तुरंत हाँ कर दी. So it was rather simple to get me to do the book launch, but I'm also very, very excited to be launching Naumita and Sanjay's book.
मैम किस तरह की किताबें आप पढ़ती हैं और
मैं पहले बहुत पढ़ती थी, अब मैं अनपढ़ हो गई हूँ. फिल्म स्क्रिप्ट्स के अलावा बहुत पढ़ने का मौका नहीं मिलता, पर ये मुझे मज़ेदार इसलिए भी लगी क्योंकि जब हिस्ट्री से मैं ज़्यादा थोड़ी तंग आ जाती हूँ. तो अगर हिस्टोरिकल फिक्शन हो तो एक इमेजिनेशन का वहाँ स्कोप होता है कि आप सोचते हैं कि अच्छा ये तो हो रहा था पॉलिटिकली, हिस्ट्री कहता है कि ये हुआ, पर इंडिविजुअल्स के लाइव्स में क्या हो रहा था एट दैट टाइम, दैट एक्साइट्स मी अ लॉट, व्हिच इज़ व्हाई आई थिंक दिस इज़ एंड इट्स अ वेरी ग्रिपिंग बुक. इसको फिल्म ज़रूर, दे शुड मेक इट इनटू अ फिल्म.
विद्या, आपको लगता है कि किताबों की, बुक्स की, ब्लैक एंड वाइट की अभी भी महत्वता उतनी है, या फिर फिल्म्स और इंटरनेट, सोशल नेटवर्किंग उतना ज़्यादा आगे आ गया?
आई थिंक किताबें हमेशा रेलेवेंट रहेंगे. आई डोंट, जिनको पढ़ना अच्छा लगता है वो शायद आज किंडल पे पढ़ें, यू नो, हार्ड कॉपी शायद कम पढ़ें, पर आई नो अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल हु स्टिल लाइक टू रीड, लाइक दैट टच एंड फील ऑफ अ बुक.
Any book on your memoirs or something which we can expect, like?
मेरी उम्र क्या लगती है आपको? मेमोइर्स के लिए टाइम हो गया सुमित.
चलता रहना चाहिए ऐसा मतलब.
फिलहाल तो नहीं.
अच्छा, एक चीज़, दो चीज़ मुझे पूछनी. Had you happened to watch Oscars?
Yes, I did.
कैसा रहा आपका अनुभव वो?
आई थिंक दुनिया भर के लिए बहुत ही एक अनोखा अनुभव रहा. ऐसा भी हो सकता है या फिर कुछ भी हो सकता है, प्रूव हो गया वहाँ.
सिर्फ वहीं पे होता है या हमारे यहाँ भी होता है ये सब?
यू नो, होता ये है कि ऑफकोर्स हमारे यहाँ हम जानते हैं, पर हमें हमेशा लगता है कि नहीं वहाँ ऐसे नहीं होता होगा, पर वहाँ भी ऐसे हुआ.
एक चीज़ और मुझे चीज़ बताइए प्लीज़, इफ यू थिंक आंसर है. गुलमेहर कौर, आपने पढ़ा होगा उनके बारे में जो चल रहा है, आपकी प्रतिक्रिया कुछ, अगर थोड़ा बहुत अगर आप कुछ प्रकाश डालना चाहें?
यू नो, मैं इसके बारे में ज़्यादा नहीं कहना चाहती बिकॉज I think what we really need to respect is people's freedom of expression. उसने कुछ कहा, किसी और ने कुछ कहा, सब अपनी अपनी जगह सही है, अपने अपनी जगह सही है, पर मैं इसमें और ज़्यादा नहीं कहना चाहती बिकॉज आई थिंक everyone has a right to express what they feel.
वायलेंस ठीक है, वायलेंस नहीं होना चाहिए.
Of course नहीं होना चाहिए, बिल्कुल. कोई भी नहीं, वायलेंस कोई भी नहीं चाहता.
मैम कवर अगर हम देख रहे हैं तो झटके से हमें लग रहा है कि ये शाहिद और कंगना है. कवर के बारे में जरा बताएं.
ये आप बताएं प्लीज.
ये हमारी इंटेंशन बिल्कुल नहीं थी कि वो किसी के साथ रिजेम्बलेंस हो उनकी.
We were trying to get the feel of Aditi and the main character, and these were friends who agreed. So that's how we got there.
मैम फिल्मों की क्या तैयारी चल रही है अगली, किस में आप?
बेगम जान रिलीज़ हो रही है 14 अप्रैल को, और उसके बाद तुम्हारी सुलू की शूटिंग शुरू होगी. तो बस फिलहाल तैयारी चल रही है.
There have been reports that you'll work with Rajnikant in the future with Kabali. How true are those?
We'll know in a while. Thank you.
And then before you leave, you came as breath of fresh air with this wonderful sari. Can you just elaborate on this?
I can, you know, Pranay and Shaunak, my stylist, got this for me, and I absolutely loved it because there's something very classic about it, which is why I wore it.
चलिए जल्दी से आप ऑस्कर्स के रेड कार्पेट पे आए हमारे लिए.
हाय हाय इंशाल्लाह ऑस्कर लेके आऊँ, दुआ करना यार. थैंक यू गाइस. अरे
मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि जो किताब जो लिखी गई है वो एक लव स्टोरी, एक थ्रिलर और एक ख़ास टाइम पे सेट है, जो कि सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर, दूसरे विश्व युद्ध का टाइम था जब नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस ने अपनी इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी बनाई थी. अब बहुत कुछ बोला जा रहा है सुभाष चंद्र बोस की इंडियन नेशनल आर्मी के बारे में, और सुभाष चंद्र बोस के उस काम पे वो सही थे, गलत थे, वो हैं, वो नहीं हैं, वो मारे गए कि नहीं मारे गए, वो तमाम तरह की कॉन्ट्रोवर्सीज है. तो बहुत मज़ेदार किताब है, बहुत सही टाइम पे है. उसकी किताब की निकलने की टाइमिंग बहुत अच्छी है, बिकॉज बहुत सारे लोग उत्सुक हैं जानने के लिए कि ये क्या हुआ था. बट ये एक फिक्शनल किताब है और बहुत मज़ेदार. इट्स अ वेरी वेरी गुड रीड. तो जिनको हिस्ट्री की में दिलचस्पी है उनको मज़ा आएगा, जिनको एक लव स्टोरी, थ्रिलर बेस्ड लव स्टोरी और बहुत ही एक पीरियड में सेट फिक्शन में इंटरेस्ट है उनको भी मज़ा आ जाएगा. तो दोनों तरह के बोथ काइंड ऑफ रीडर्स वुड एंजॉय दिस बुक. आई हैव जस्ट फिनिश शूटिंग रागदेश, उसकी एडिटिंग चल रही है. तो बहुत बड़ा सब्जेक्ट है. रागदेश बताएगा कि एक्चुअली हिंदुस्तान को आज़ादी मिली तो कैसे मिली, क्योंकि बहुत सारे मुगालते हैं, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, बहुत सारी चीज़ों में पर्दा गिरा हुआ है. लोगों को पता नहीं है कि सुभाष चंद्र बोस, जो हमने बचपन में अपने किताबों में पढ़ा है सुभाष चंद्र, लेकिन बहुत सारे लोग जानते नहीं सुभाष चंद्र बोस के काम के बारे में. तो वो बहुत बड़े लीडर थे. मुझे लगता है हिंदुस्तान के सबसे बड़े फ्रीडम फाइटर वही थे. मेरे हिसाब से देश को आज़ादी उन्होंने दिलाई है. रागदेश उसी के बारे में. हाँ, लेकिन मुझे ये वक्त अच्छा नहीं लगा. मुझे सिर्फ उसकी पोस्ट के बारे में बात नहीं, ये टाइम में हर चीज़ को मुद्दा बना देना, क्योंकि आपके पास एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म है ट्विटर या कम्युनिकेशन के तरह, हर चीज़ को न्यूज़ बना देना, हर चीज़ को तूल देना, तिल का पहाड़ बना देना, ये अच्छी बात नहीं है. वो मासूम सी लड़की है, उसने कुछ कहा तो उसको लेकर के इतने बड़े बड़े लोग उस पर कॉमेंट क्यों कर रहे हैं. उसको बच्चे का जीना आराम कर दिया आपने. मुझे तो बहुत बुरा लगता है और मैं बहुत असहाय फील करता हूँ, बहुत हेल्पलेस फील करता हूँ कि देश की मेजॉरिटी इस तरह की बात सोच रही है. तो मुझे लगता नहीं कि देश किसी अच्छी तरफ ये देश जा रहा है. तो मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगता बस. ओह यस यस. ऑस्कर द एंटायर सेरेमनी बहुत अच्छी थी, हमेशा अच्छी लगती है, बहुत एलिगेंट होती है. और हमको लगता है कि हमारे अवार्ड शोज़ ऐसे क्यों नहीं होते. हमारे अवार्ड शोज़ में इतनी बढ़ती की होती रहती है, इतना पॉइज और इतना एक रीगल और एक तमीज़ से क्यों नहीं करते हैं हम लोग. बट देखिए वहाँ भी इतना बड़ा फियास्को हो गया. तो ये भूलने की जो चीज़ है ना, जितना सोशल नेटवर्किंग साइट्स और जितने प्लेटफॉर्म्स कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए बनते जा रहे हैं, इंसान उतना भूलता जा रहा है. देखिए उनसे भी गलती हो गई, उनसे वो ये ऐसी नहीं होती, और तरह की तमाम गलतियाँ होती हैं. I was very happy that La La Land did not get the Best Picture award and Moonlight got it. तो जब La La Land बोला था, I was disappointed, but when Moonlight got it, मैंने कहा देखो, there's some hope, there's justice.
बहुत बढ़िया. मुझे एक्चुअली बुक पढ़ने का बहुत इच्छा हो रही है, क्योंकि I was a student of history and this is such an interesting premise, you know, a fiction set in a historical time, and also Namita and Sanjay, I think their collaboration as writers and as two intellectual minds will be quite exciting actually. I'm quite looking forward to this work of fiction.
और अगर बात करें हमने आपकी जो पिछली जो फिल्म देखी थोड़ा सा यहाँ पर किरदार था, लेकिन बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग किरदार था. तो आप आने वाले दिनों में हम क्या कुछ देखेंगे आपको?
अभी आ रही है जग्गा, अप्रैल में, और टिस्का और मैंने एक ब्रिटिश फिल्म किया साथ में, द हंग्री बोल के, जिसमें टिस्का है, नसीरुद्दीन शाह है, नीरज का भी है, सूरज शर्मा है, मैं हूँ, तो बहुत ही मज़ा आया हमें. सो या आई थिंक दैट्स ऑल्सो कमिंग आउट दिस ईयर. और कुछ है जो आ रही है, देखेंगे आप लोग. पर अभी नेक्स्ट है जगह शायोनी. I think it's always nice to see, to hear excerpts from a book, because when you're reading it, you know, you're imagining it. But when you hear the writers sort of read them out, or you know, the panelists read them out, and they have obviously chosen the excerpts keeping something in mind, you know, because you can't really read out the whole book. So that was that. It always fascinates me. I actually came a little late, so I wasn't there throughout. But whatever part of their conversation and the panel discussion I was hearing, again, you know, during INA, during Subhash Bose's time, this whole, you know, what would a love story set in that time be like? And so that was really exquisite, you know, when you start imagining those things. And the highlight was really listening to these people and the writers, both Nomita and Sanjay, sort of talk about their experience and collaborating to write, because it's very difficult to write together, and how that process sort of worked out for them. That was really interesting for me. Yeah. Me? Yeah. Ranveer. Ranveer. Yeah, he's my favorite. है ना? हो गई ना कास्टिंग? चलो, कल छपवा दो. हाँ, बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल. Costumes, Shrija कर सकती है. Tiska is actually very good with styling. She can style the film. No, we're going to go to the northeast and go to the eastern part of Bengal, India, and shoot. Studio any. Viacom or UTV, or UTV is no more, na? Disney. Yeah, Disney. Chalega. Hopefully. Could be. I didn't see it, but I saw excerpts, and I saw, you know, those clips that keep coming and whatever has happened, and I see what everyone was wearing, and you know, I like to see photos from there. And yeah, I did see some excerpts and some interviews, which were quite cool actually. Yeah. Yeah, these things keep happening. I mean, you know, it's funny when it happens at that forum, and you know, and the whole world watches it. It's sad because I feel the limelight, Moonlight, should have been in the limelight at that point, and it sort of took away from their moment. But having said that, I think everyone was very gracious about it. Everyone was like quite a sport. And it's actually quite funny, you know, everyone's talking about it. It's given us something to talk about, something fun. So it's fine, I guess, you know, these things keep happening. इंडिया में तो सबको दे देते हैं अवार्ड ना, किसी को नहीं छोड़ते. So हाँ, exactly. तो मुझे तो, मैंने ऐसा ही सुना है, जो जाता है उनको दे देते हैं. मैं तो जाती नहीं, मुझे नहीं पता. हाँ, नहीं, मैं नहीं बोलना चाहूँगी क्योंकि सब लोग इतना कुछ बोल रहे हैं. मुझे कुछ नहीं बोलना है. वो एक्चुअली मेरे कॉलेज से है, LSR से, और आज ही जो इंग्लिश डिपार्टमेंट है LSR से, they have come out with their comment, and I think enough has been said. आजकल ये सोशल मीडिया में ना सब कुछ बनने से पहले खिचड़ी बन जाता है. So I think the lesser we speak about it, the better, honestly.
कुछ मतलब how do you take this thing, मतलब कैसे, क्या नहीं बोलना चाहिए तो कैसे बोलना चाहिए, और
नहीं, बिल्कुल बोलना चाहिए. But now, you know, these days everyone has an opinion, right? And other people have an opinion about your opinion. So it's just too much, I feel. And it's a part of it's part of the time we live in, you know. But I don't want to comment anything because it's just going to keep getting, you know, you are going to make something out of it. Oh, Shayoni has said this, and I don't want that at all. So I have nothing to say, just that whatever is happening, we'll see, we are getting to see. And yeah, just log on to your Twitter and you will see enough.
threat करोगा, threats तो दोनों ठीक नहीं है ना, like giving someone threats.
बिल्कुल भी नहीं threat. But you know, the thing with trolls and threats and all of that is it's completely unnecessary. It's in very bad. I mean, it's really wrong. Yeah. Apart from that, I don't think like everyone should feel safe and everyone has the right to express their opinion. You know, and that shouldn't be tampered with. I feel you have the right to speak your mind, and so does he, and so does every single person who lives in this country. And it's part of our fundamental right, you know, freedom to express. So that shouldn't be tampered with, and everyone should have the right to freely express themselves, you know, and that's all I think that we should really be concerned about.
You know, occasions for people to think about these things and talk about them, I think that's what's the most important thing.
And also, the book is soon going to be a motion picture. That's what you mentioned. So when is that you planning?
So it's something that is in the pipeline. We can't really talk about it, but yes, we definitely want to make a film out of it.
And coming soon to a
And
theatre.
coming soon, yes. But it's a historical film, so it's quite.
Yes.
The scale is very big, and so therefore it requires a lot of support.
Also, we want to make sure, as we have in the book, that we don't want to do any kind of disservice to anybody. We want to make sure that we get the facts right, and then we say our story or we make our story around that.
Do you have any celebrities, any actor, actress in your mind for the film? Like,
Well,
do you have somebody?
wish list. I would like to have Dev Patel as Nishanko, because I think he has the intensity and I think the idealism that Nishanko stands for. Aditi is. Can you see Aditi?
But not as yet. I think it's a little early. I think Dave very easily fits that part. The others would require a little bit of us to.
Nishanko. fits.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's. I think there's so much talent out there, and so much because these are all actually, when you look back at it, the story is about very young people. You know, it's about an 18-year-old girl, it's about a 21-year-old boy who's been thrown into battle, into this reality of having to fight a war, and there is a slightly older 24-year-old. So you know, they're very young people. I mean, it's not an old people's tale, and it's about young people taking their beliefs and going out there. So yeah, there's a big wish list, and would love to, yeah.
And there's also the thing that very often, because the story is big and the events that happened were so big, that very often we forget how young those people must have been who took part in those events. So naturally, it's got to be about the sensibilities and the spirit of youth. So that's very important to retain it.
Yeah,
And not like an old man's tale or somebody who's so that is very important, and that has to be captured right.
Thank you. This is the first edition of the book which is coming out.
That's right.
What are your expectations from the book and your target market?
Well, our target market is almost everybody, simply because it is for all those people who are interested in historical fiction, and there are lots of people like that. But at the same time, we haven't written it so that it can become overbearing or tedious. So it is in fact for all those who love basically a good yarn, those who love a good story, those who love characters and everything that happens to them, people who believe in love, and people who understand that there is a dark side to love, which is betrayal, and people who basically read thrillers, and I think of all age groups.
Probably must become a bestseller in coming days.
Whoa.
inshallah.
And probably somebody has probably already asked you about the scene which has been depicted on the book cover. So how did you zero upon that picture?
Concept is love in the time of war, isn't it? And it's stolen moments. When you read the book, the way all their lives are on the brink. Anything can happen. They don't know what they're going into. They don't know what their lives will be, even a month from now. So we've tried to capture the fragility of that, of what they had in the midst of war, and a moment of that peace and that calm, which they try to. And you really don't know, because it's about a love story. It's about a triangle. So who's this? And so it was like keeping it a little open.
It's almost like you are spying on two people. It's almost like you've parted the bushes and you see this scene happening. It's like that.
Two people.
Aditi, and we won't say who the other one is.
Yeah. And before we take leave and congratulate you, we congratulate you. We just want to know who will be directing the film, like if it will happens.
Well, I'm a director,
Yeah, no.
so I would love to direct. And so let's see in the future what happens.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you very much.